let's move on to key area number 1, the purposes of budgeting. First and foremost, what is a budget? A budget is simply a plan for the costs and revenues that are supposed to be incurred for a specific upcoming period. Now this upcoming period is obviously in the future, and with regards to many organizations, what we commonly see is that they will be facing certain expenditures and they will be receiving certain incomes for their operations. So what organizations do to plan ahead is that they prepare budgets, and this helps them in a lot of ways. So these ways are what's considered the purposes of budgeting. So let's take a look at a few of these purposes of budgeting. So one of the main purposes of this budgeting is to plan for the future. Now, as I said, these companies, these organizations will be facing certain expenditures and will be receiving certain revenues. So by planning for the future, you can know, or you can simply estimate what your exact cost is going to be, what your exact revenue is going to be, and how you're going to tackle that. Whether you are trying to pay it on time. For example, if it is electricity expense, whether you plan it to pay it on time, or whether you plan to pay it in a month's time or so. And this can help with a lot of things such as cash management, so that you know how much cash is required in a particular month. And it also helps manage the treasury, manage all the operations in a more efficient manner, since there is a plan. So this helps with the planning process. Secondly, it helps senior managers and directors at the top level to communicate with those at the bottom level. By providing a budget, you're basically communicating the requirements that need to be achieved, as well as the goals and objectives of the business that need to be achieved. So it can be used as a method of communicating with those at the lower levels, especially with regards to the decisions that have been made at these higher levels, how these need to be achieved by the lower levels. So such communication can take place here. Next, it motivates the employees, especially at junior levels. This is since there is a plan and they know what needs to be done. Rather than being told in general as to what needs to be done, the budget would state, let's say in terms of revenue, this is the revenue that needs to be earned. So they know that they need to work towards achieving this revenue. So there is a sort of motivation, because they know that they need to achieve it. Because in most organizations, by achieving a better budget, in other words, exceeding the expectations of the budget. So when we say exceeding here, it could be if it's a revenue, it could be having a higher revenue that was budgeted, and if it was relating to a cost, it could be having a lower cost than that was budgeted. So in a situation like this, generally in most companies, the employees may be bound to a performance incentive because they have performed exceptionally well. So this provides motivation to employees to perform better in their daily jobs, and as a result, they will perform better, or at least they will make an effort because they are motivated. Another purpose of preparing budgets is for performance evaluation. Now, this is not just for the performance evaluation of individual employees or the business as a whole. You take it, let's say at individual employee level, you can evaluate each of their performance, whether they have worked or whether they have contributed in relation to achieving the organizational goals and objectives. And overall, as an organization, you can evaluate the entire organization's performance. You can identify areas where the organization is weak because of where they have performed weakly. For example, a particular business unit, it could be a particular department, it could be a particular product per se. And the performance of this can be improved in the upcoming periods by rectifying the errors and rectifying what was done wrong in this particular period. So it can be used as a method for what? Control. For control purposes, and also to ensure that the future periods are much better than how it was performed now. However, if let's say there is a particular department or particular business unit which performed well in relation to the present year or the past year, that does not mean that you can make any improvements. Yes, you have to make improvements for it to perform even much better in the upcoming periods. So it can be used as a method of also learning about how these organizations, business units operate, and how you can exactly improve their business process.